Thanks for listening to talknorth.com, and thanks to our sponsor, Bite Squad, bitesquad.com, or on the Bite Squad app. Our special deal this weekend is celebrating the Gopher women's volleyball team making it to the NCAA tournament and celebrating their first-round games. Use promo code GophersVB. Obviously, it's in volleyball. GophersVB, all one word, starting on Thursday night, running through Sunday night. You will get 10% off of your order. It will work one time for anybody this weekend. Gophers VB at bitesquad.com or on the Bite Squad app. Thanks again to our listeners who participate in these Bite Squad specials, and thanks, of course, to Bite Squad, bitesquad.com, food for your mood delivered.
Hi, this is Gloria with Successful Marketing Group. I have a special message for all listeners of the Cheryl Reeve Show. Every single night in Minnesota, 6,000 youth are homeless. It's winter here in Minnesota, and in January it will get down to negative 20 plus below. You can help with $10, $25, or more. Last year, we raised $4,000 and donated 735 items. This is the third year of the Winter Wear Drive, and we're hoping to raise $8,000. These kids are cold and on the streets. Please consider helping. Go to tiny.cc/winterwear-drive. That's tiny, TINY.cc/winterwear-drive. And on Friday, December the 7th, with the help of Cheryl and Jim and Sweet Gypsy Waffles, we will be hosting a super fun winter clothing drop-off event where you will get to enjoy the first public tastings of Sweet Gypsy Waffles and watch the live taping of the Cheryl Reeve Show with Rebecca Brunson. It will be a lot of fun and for a super important cause. Please go to tiny.cc/winterwear-drive to donate and learn more about the event. Thank you so very much, and happy holidays from Successful Marketing Group.
Welcome back to the Cheryl Reeve Show. I'm Jim Suhan here with Cheryl Reeve in her office over in Mayo Clinic Square. We have a lot of things I want to get to today. We're going to get to it very quickly. Thanks to Gloria Ramsey and SuccessfulMarketingGroup.com. Use SuccessfulMarketingGroup.com/Cheryl Reeve to get a free 45-minute audit and action plan for your marketing needs. Thanks to Brandon Morton, our producer. If you'd like to advertise with the program, you can reach me at jsouhan47@gmail.com. Stick with us. We'll be doing some live shows soon here and get back out and see all of our favorite people once again. And again, please download before you listen. So much going on. I saw that your friend Howard Megdal had an interesting interview with Adam Silver, in which Adam Silver did say that, hey, it might be time to find a way to lengthen the season, to keep all the great American players in America playing for the WNBA instead of having them go overseas. What did you take away from his conversation?
Well, I think it's the first time in a while that I thought that Adam Silver, as the leader of the NBA, WNBA, G League, actually had some really good things to say about the WNBA. That was a long time coming, and so it was really good to hear, his position. And I think, maybe over the last few months, he's been forced to get a little closer to the WNBA. And so I think as he's taken a closer look and he's had more dialogue and engagement around it, I think he's sort of back involved. I know he wrote the business plan for the WNBA, but that was 22 years ago. And I think in the course of that time of writing the business plan and getting the league up and running, there came a point in time where maybe, there was a little bit of a stepping back, and probably too far, in my opinion. And so it's good to see. It's good to see that he's granting interviews and talking. It's good to hear his mindset of investing in women. It's not to say that there hasn't been a financial investment in the WNBA by the NBA. That certainly, would not be true. They have invested a lot of dollars, but the word investment to me means so much more than just throwing, for billionaires to throw $1 million, when we talk about losses, there's certainly been some profits in our league. I think Adam is recognizing all those things. I think what he sees now is an opportunity. One of the things that he mentioned was, seeing opportunities that weren't there maybe 5 years ago or even a couple of years ago. And I think those of us that have been in the game go, well, no, we've seen those opportunities, and we're glad he's finally seeing them as well. And I think the ability to leverage the iconic brand that is the NBA is something that I think could take a giant leap forward. If we were to invest greater in partnering, that's what sales is all about, is your ability to leverage. And I think that we have failed in that area for a long time, and that to me has got to be the area of focus for Adam. So I was happy that he granted that interview and really spoke in pretty good detail about it.
Also interesting development, NBA has promoted Allison Feaster, former WNBA star and Harvard graduate, to oversee eligibility of prospects and programs implementation for something like a G League, if I understand that right.
Yeah, I don't know that I fully understand. I suspect that what it means is she's, and Allison played for the Charlotte Sting, who I had a chance to coach for a couple of years. Allison is tremendous person, tremendous individual. Made my time in Charlotte very, very pleasant in being around her and her husband Danny. I'm happy for Allison. I think that the NBA found a really good one in Allison, but it matches, maybe some of the concern about the WNBA as compared to the G League and what I was just referring to about the NBA. NBA is clearly invested in the G League. They are doing things to try to make that a little different, a little more valuable on the business side, as well as, I think, to assist NBA franchises, whether it's talent, prospecting, maybe to bridge a gap that might exist, for high schools into college. And, they're clearly studying that pretty hard. I think what we saw in the NBA is when they invested in the summer league, that was a venture that was failing and about to go away. And then all of a sudden they swooped in and said, okay, what are we going to do to be able to make this successful? And they figured out a way. Now they're doing the same thing with the G League. Can you imagine if they paid the same attention to the WNBA, what it would do? And I think that that's what it's going to take. It's going to take bold move like that. So happy for Allison. We are seeing more and more women. The NBA does get an A+ in terms of their diversity and inclusion. I think they're doing great things in that regard. But I'd really, really like there to be a greater understanding of the type of investment that's needed by them in the WNBA.
James Wade leaves you for Chicago. Tell me about that.
He sure did. That was something that we knew when we hired James, that he would be a short stay if we did it right. If he was as good as advertised, I knew that this was not going to be. I would not get as lucky as I did with Jim Peterson and Jim, being here for so long. Obviously, it was a good fit, for. His family, his dual role, and so that was a real perk that we had. So I knew that the next assistant, if they were any good and we would continue to be successful, that they would be plucked out of there. And really happy for James. He actually interviewed after his first year. I remember we were actually at Freehouse celebrating the 2017 championship, and we were still drying out from the championship, and we were taking on some mimosas and other things, a very fine breakfast. And I remember saying to James, not only did he win his first championship, but I said, hey, by the way, Atlanta wants to talk to you. And he just had this moment. He said, is this really happening? So I think for him, it happens so fast. But it's what we talked about. It's what we talked about. We hope that we will be able to do for him. And then when the Chicago job opened, Michael Alter moved very swiftly. He knew what he wanted. It's a sign of respect for the Lynx organization and what our team has been able to do, that they entrusted their franchise into James's hands. And I think James is very good. And as I told him, I think the roster is, that oftentimes is more than half the battle. Is obviously getting a group of players. It happened pretty quickly here, for me, but I was a beneficiary of a couple of years of shortcomings. James probably is in that same category. He's got a roster that a few high picks in there, He's got a point guard that's really evolved and has now become one of the best point guards in the league. That's vital, to your team's success. And so I think he's got a lot of really good things in place. And, oh, by the way, he's got another high draft pick, which is why, there was a coaching change. And so I think that James is going to be very good. And I wish him luck on every team except ours.
Sue Bird, the latest WNBA player or star to join an NBA franchise. She's going to be in the Denver Nuggets front office. It does feel like we're getting closer and closer to someone, a woman running an NBA franchise or running a personnel department or running a team.
Well, I say this often, Jim. Professional men's sports is the only place that women aren't leading.
Right.
And so, we can be so many things. We can lead a university. We can be CEO of a company. We perhaps could be the president of the United States. We can lead in the military. But yet we don't have any women leaders in professional men's sports. So yes, I do think it's coming. And I think it will be, I loved hearing the Condoleezza Rice story. I'm not, I didn't drill down to really understand it, if it was real. Her interest in it has always been, it's been well documented. But I think that, you're spot on, that we're not too far away from that. And I tell you what, we've got some really qualified people. It's like anything else. It's not about whether you're male or female. If you're talented, you're talented. And it makes no sense to me why you would cut off half of your talent base. So it's good to see men's professional sports evolving.
What do you make of Lindsay Whalen's start over to you?
Oh, quite impressive, obviously.
Yeah, I think so.
I think, I actually got to enjoy my first game against the Pine Bluff team. So it wasn't a great game per se. Obviously, Minnesota was overwhelming for them. But it was my first chance to see Lindsay on the sidelines. I did see her at practice, but for me to actually see her coaching and just how much fun she looks like she's having. So that was really, really rewarding. And it's just when you think about a charmed sporting life, and how things have gone for her, and she coaches her first game, to a sellout crowd, because that's how passionate, fans are about Lindsay Whalen and what she has done for the state, for the community. And then they win the game, and they promptly are now in the top 25.
Yeah.
Like, that's just really, really cool. Obviously, they were getting votes, but I think it's the Whalen effect. I don't know that they look at the roster and say, that they think that, Kenesha Bell's really, really talented. Pitts had a great freshman year, but they lost Carly Wagner. That was a pretty big deal. And so for them to be receiving votes and then to be picked so high in the Big Ten, third or fourth, depending on which poll you look at, that's to me is the Whalen effect. And, part of me doesn't love that for her, because that's hard, that pressure right away. But Lindsay is typically unfazed by pressure. She's just going to focus on what she's doing, and I've enjoyed the job that she's done.
And if you missed it, Cheryl and I went over to Lindsay's office a couple of weeks ago and did a nice sit-down chat with Lindsay. I tried to get out of the way and let Cheryl and Lindsay run the conversation as much as they felt like it. You can go back on talknorth.com under the Cheryl Reeve Show and find that archived. Thanks to Cheryl, as always. She's got a really crazy schedule this week, so we're keeping this show fairly tight. We will be announcing shortly. Follow us on social media, either me or Cheryl or Talk North Pod, and we will be telling you about live shows coming up, including that special December 7th show.
Join us December 7th for the live recording of the Cheryl Reeve Show as Cheryl and Jim talk with Rebecca Brunson at the winter wear drop-off event, collecting donations for Minnesota homeless teens. Your clothing donation gets you in free. Go to tiny.cc/winterwear-drive for more information or to donate.
So thanks to Cheryl, thanks to all of our listeners, and we'll be talking to you next week from wherever Cheryl happens to be in the world.